whole process of selection and implementation. Well, 7-Eleven learned that they really were able to find innovation through their provider. They set out to measure the effectiveness of job boards and found that they were spending a very large amount of money and not really seeing results. So they worked hand in hand with their talent acquisition system provider to partner with other ways to source candidates using social networking sites, using search engine optimization, and really found that partner and very satisfied with their provider. SGS, an example of a company with a global implementation. Again, they needed to find that global provider and needed to make sure that global compliance was there and that they were going to be taken care of globally, that their provider had experience, domain experience in this area. Atos Origin, example of a company, a global company, again, really looking for that trusted partnership. So finding that cultural fit and having the trusted partner that could work through all of the implementation challenges with them. Yahoo, an example of a company, and I mentioned them during the implementation part of this presentation, and they really, again, were able to have success with their pilot phase of their program and rolled it out in one business unit before rolling it out to the rest. So really made sure that they had patience and took their time during implementation. And then Royal Mail, an example of a company that invested in a talent acquisition system and were able to then measure the results. And they were able to save $1 million in recruitment advertising expenses. So what are we going to see this year, next year coming up? Can you believe it's already the end of 2009? I can't. So, but for 2010, we're continuing to see the demand for innovation, still growing. And again, these solution providers are responding and offering innovation. Social networking just exploded this year, and it's going to continue to grow. I know a lot of people out there probably hoped it would die away, but it hasn't, and it's not going to. So really finding out how to use and leverage these sites in your talent acquisition strategies. More consolidation. There's certainly a lot of rumors out there, and a lot of them will probably come to fruition in the early year. So stay tuned for that. General job boards decrease traffic. We saw that last year, and we're going to continue to see that as companies look beyond the big 3 job boards and look to niche job boards, look to job board aggregators, look to other ways to source candidates. New technology choices. A lot of new companies. Again, this just speaks to how important talent acquisition is for organizations. A lot of new companies out there that entered the market this year and will continue to, and there's a lot of growth in this market. And then next generation talent acquisition systems. So we're going to really see, as this is a very saturated market, a lot of these providers now able to further differentiate themselves. So it's, again, an exciting time, and an exciting time to be considering purchasing these solutions. And with that, I would hand it over to Jerome at MrTed.
Thank you, Madeleine. Great presentation, and I think I'd like to spend some time now talking to you about these next generation talent acquisition solutions and what we see in the marketplace as a vendor. MrTed as a vendor has been around for about 10 years. We really pioneered the space of talent acquisition. We have our roots in Europe and offices worldwide, from San Francisco to Shanghai, and we really play on that global talent acquisition market. So one of our key differentiators and one of the key successes we've had over the years is really being able to support global companies with the implementation of solutions that are equally effective in each of the markets where they operate. Because as Madeleine said, there are a lot of talent acquisition vendors, but there is not so many that actually can support you on a global scale. So if you ask a simple question like, you know, of the talent acquisition vendors, how many have an office and an operation in key major economies of the world, like, I don't know, Germany or China, or places where if you are a global business, you are going to need to recruit there, then suddenly the list of tens and tens of vendors becomes a list of 2 or 3 that are actually in those countries, in those regions, with the expertise to support you. And a lot of the implementations that we see that are aiming to be global actually fail on that localization component, because they fail to address the needs of the local recruiters. And in the same way that for a US recruiter it is mandatory to have a system that, say, can manage OFCCP compliance or EEO reporting, well, actually, for a recruiter in South Africa, it's mandatory that it can manage the Black Economic Empowerment regulations, or that in France the diversity piece allows to anonymize resumes, or that in Germany you are able to properly support collecting the religion of applicants, because this is something you need to have. So being able to accommodate those needs and to make a system locally effective is the best guarantee for a global success. Otherwise, as we normally see, or as we often see, companies end up with a very expensive career website because by deploying a global talent acquisition solution, in fact, most of the countries quickly go back to Excel spreadsheet and are not using the solution overall. So supporting global implementation is about localization. It's also about what Madeline mentioned, the user experience. And I would say, having been in this market for 10 years and supporting close to 2,000 customers now worldwide, the user experience is probably the most important piece that one can bring to a customer, and the most important criteria that customers should have. We have worked in our next generation of solutions called Cloud9 on a completely revolutionary approach to technology, and therefore to technology solutions. What we've done is we've leveraged the cloud computing architectures, so the newest architectures that are available on the market, to really be able to build, or we've built a solution that is very flexible in its various components, being the database, the business logic, or the user interface. What that allows us to do is actually to package all of the functionalities and features that users like to have into apps, and to have apps that are, we say, apps for everything, so that a little bit like an iPhone, you have an app for what you need. And these apps are portable thanks to the cloud computing architecture, so you could actually take that piece of functionality and port it into your SAP portal, into your intranet, into another application, and start working with your talent acquisition system from another system. So to have, this is a good example of cloud, in fact, as well as the other way around, being able to bring other systems into your cloud, your talent acquisition platform. Most importantly, you can take these applications to personalize your workspace, and this allows us to create, I think we in fact create a talent acquisition solution that is tailored not to a company, not to a country, but actually tailored to an individual user, so that each person, whether you're a recruiter, a hiring manager, you are in charge of graduate recruiting, you do high volume, or you are in the back office approving offers, or you're looking after onboarding, or maybe you're looking at contingent workforce, or you're the person that looks after referral programs, or you're just focused on sourcing, or whatever your role might be in the food chain of talent acquisition, we allow you to actually build your own portal, your own talent acquisition